Greetings and welcome to this yet another video on inpatient diabetes management series. In this video, we'll discuss the discharge planning and step down therapy for insulin management from the inpatient to outpatient after the patient gets well. So, in this, we'll discuss about the conversion rules, the prescriptions, and the patient education. This content in this video is provided exclusively for educational purposes and should not be used as a substitute for professional medical advice. This is Medicine Beyond Harrison's, and let's get started. The core principles, the must remember rules. Always remember to never stop insulin abruptly. Even if you are initiating OHAs at discharge, always keep a basal dose of insulin and taper it down slowly because abrupt stopping will cause rebound hyperglycemia and ketosis. Base decisions on the data. Use the last 48 to 72 hours of glucose and the insulin requirement plus the HbA1c to distinguish the chronic need versus stress. The inpatient total daily dose, use this as a baseline, then adjust downward for safety to prevent hypoglycemia at home. Individualize, tailor the regimen to the age of the patient, the cognition, the renal function, home support, and the cost of the insulin therapy. Always prefer simpler, safer regimens for elderly and unreliable to follow up patients. So pre-discharge checklist, that is 24 to 48 hours before the discharge, ensure the stable profile of the patient, the pre-meal to be between 100 to 140, record the total daily dose requirement of insulin, that is the sum of basal plus the bolus plus the correction given in the last 48 hours. Review the HbA1c values and guide insulin versus OHAs. So organ function, always check for renal and hepatic functions. Check the eGFR for metformin and SGLT2 safety. Avoid metformin if eGFR is less than 30 and the similarly for SGLT2 inhibitors. Education, always provide a diabetic self-management education program and enroll them in that. Teach about the insulin therapy and the way to insert insulin and the sites of insulin therapy and recognition of hypoglycemia. Ensure written action plan is provided in the discharge. Home situation, can the patient manage multiple injections and could be able to check the blood glucose and hypoglycemia recognition. If these criteria are not met, prefer basal or the premix insulin only and not the basal plus bolus regimen at home. So which pathway to choose? There are three types that we can choose when the patient is getting discharged. Okay, you can convert the insulin and convert it to only OHAs or convert it into basal insulin plus OHAs or convert it into premix form or co-form. So in the first one, if you convert into OHS only, where you can convert it when there is only stress hyperglycemia or unstable on minimal requirement or when the A1C is less than 8.5. So rule, always start OHS, taper basal by 50%, stop the basal after 48 hours only if stable. This is done to prevent rebound hyperglycemia. So basal plus OHA regimen is also a very preferred regimen. You can convert into basal plus OHS from basal bolus regimen from the inpatient if the HbA1c is moderate, that is between 8.5 to 10, and can do with one injection. Rule, the basal should be 50 to 60% of total daily dose. Add metformin, titrate 2 units every 3 days. Premix or co-formulation, this is done when the HbA1c is very high and the patient cannot manage basal bolus regimen and predictable meal pattern is there for the patient. The rule is zero point 0.8 into total daily dose of requirement and split it into two-thirds of the total daily dose that is calculated in the morning and one-third only in the night to prevent nocturnal hyperglycemia. So conversion formulas with examples from the inpatient basal bolus to basal only regimen, we convert it into 50 to 60% of inpatient total daily dose. So for example, if a patient is taking 60 units of insulin in hospital, then convert it to 30 to 36 units of Glargine only at night. So if the patient is taking basal bolus regimen in hospital and we are converting into premix 70/30, the general rule is to use zero point 0.8 per input total daily dose, that is reduced by 20%. Split it into two-third AM and one-third in the night. So if the patient is taking 60 units of insulin, our calculated value could come around 48 units in total daily dose that is required per day at discharge. So split it into two-third, that is 32 units in the morning and 16 units in the night. And the last one, if the patient is on premix, we are converting to basal bolus, increase it by 10 to 20%. Split 50% as basal and 50% as bolus. For example, if the patient is taking 48 units of premix insulin, then it is 58 units in total that is required if the patient is taking basal and bolus regimen. Use 29 units as basal, 29 units as bolus. Always apply safety reduction 10 to 20% when simplifying regimens to prevent hypoglycemia at home. So monitoring plan after discharge. Always ensure to monitor the blood glucose level at home with capillary blood glucose monitor in the first 7 to 14 days and advise them to follow up with calling the clinic or calling the doctor for when the patient experiences hypoglycemia or blood sugars more than 300. So when the basal only regimen, if the patient is on at discharge, ensure to check fasting daily for 7 to 14 days, plus as and when required symptomatic check if the patient is about to experience hypoglycemia or when the patient is having lethargy or generalized tiredness or features of DKA. When the patient is being discharged with a premix or basal bolus regimen, ensure to do fasting, pre-lunch, pre-dinner, and bedtime insulin sugar checkup at home for the next 7 to 14 days. So action threshold: if the blood glucose is more than 300, for two times, call the clinic same day. If the patient blood glucose is less than 70, that is hypoglycemia, ensure to advise on 15 grams of carbohydrate and recheck it in 15 minutes. And always ensure to reduce the next dose by 10 to 20 percentage and call the doctor. Ketones and vomiting: if the blood glucose CBG monitor shows ketone positivity or the patient is having vomiting, seek emergency care to rule out a DKA. The written titration rules for patient. The basal insulin rules: if the fasting is 100 to 130, we can continue the same. If the fasting is more than 140 for 3 consecutive days, then increase the basal by 2 units. If the fasting is less than 90 or the patient is experiencing hypoglycemia, reduce the basal by 2 to 4 units. This can be titrated once in 24 to 48 hours. When the patient is on premix insulin, the goal is to have the pre-meal to be less than 180 milligram per deciliter. If pre-dinner is more than 180 for 3 consecutive days, increase the AM by 2 units. If the pre-breakfast is more than 140, increase PM by 2 units. Pre-dinner should if it pre-dinner criteria is more than 180 and pre-breakfast criteria should is more than 140. So this is the normal treatment template that you can follow on daily basis and the discharge. So you can give injection insulin glargine 24 units subcutaneously at night at 22 hours or when the patient is going for bed. Titrate as per the attached scale. Tablet metformin as and when required. Linagliptin. So advised to monitor fasting blood glucose daily for 14 days and as and when there are symptoms. Hypoglycemia plan also should be written in the discharge advice, that is 15 grams of carbohydrate rule. If unconscious, come to ER. Follow up in 7 days with review log is the general rule. So when the patient is being discharged with premix insulin, that is type 2 DM discharge plan, you can give injection premix, that is Mixtard or Novomix or Rhizodec, whatever. You can give 32 units subcutaneous before breakfast and 16 units subcutaneous before dinner. And also give tablet metformin as required. So ensure to monitor blood glucose at pre-breakfast, pre-lunch, pre-dinner and bedtime for 7 days. Titration: you can titrate plus or minus 2 units every 3 days based on the symptoms. Always ensure patient education with the diabetic self-education and management program. Teach about the injection technique and always ensure to rotate sites not to put the insulin on the same site to prevent lipodystrophy. Always ensure to give and advise insulin on the thighs or in the abdomen and prevent using the insulin on the arms. Use glucometer and ensure that the patient knows how to use a glucometer. Create one demo setup for them to understand it. Hypoglycemia recognition and treatment must be taught to the patient as well as the attenders. Document the patient demonstrated competency such that the patient is uh, well and understood the hypoglycemia management, glucometer use, and injection techniques. So, sick day rules: always ensure to never stop or skip the basal insulin, even if not eating. If the basal is skipped on some or other days, it may cause hyperglycemia and may even lead to DK or hyper HHS. If there is vomiting, check the blood glucose Q4 hourly and also ensure to check ketones. When the patient is in the ER, check ketones and blood glucose if more than 300 despite insulin. Ensure to hold SGLT2 inhibitors during acute illnesses. Follow up and documentation. Ideally, the patient should ensure that he is having a normal glycemic control and the goal is met for the first 48 to 72 hours. If it is not meant, ask them to call the clinic to ensure that the dose is correct or clear of any doubts. I suggest to visit the clinic 1 week later at the discharge and ensure an HbA1c is done at 3 monthly interval. Documentation: always record the reason for insulin therapy, therapeutic total daily dose requirement, and the used for conversion, titration instruction, and who taught the instruction. Ensure the patient has hyposupplies, emergency numbers, written rules in local languages. This is the final quick reference summary. Use inpatient total daily dose as baseline and reduce it as required during the discharge. Overlap insulin when stopping IV or switching. Always ensure to check blood glucose daily for 1 to 2 weeks and call in 48 hours if necessary. Safety first, always start low and go slow. Thank you.